Brandon's review of the premium live event, Money in the Bank, which took place 48 hours ago from the sold-out MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, in an event that was so much better than that boring UFC pay-per-view over at the T-Mobile Arena. Yes, premium live events are better than pay-per-views, but let's kick things off with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, of course, featuring the winner, Liv Morgan, who had a bigger night later on. Lacey Evans, Shotzi, Raquel Rodriguez, the man, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Now, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match I thought was really good. I did not think it was better than the men's. They put on one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches in history, I believe, and I will get to that here in a second. But I thought it was really cool. There wasn't any major spots. You obviously had Liv Morgan doing the suicide flip dive over the back of Raquel Rodriguez to Lacey Evans and powerbombing her. That was a really sick spot. I thought Liv had the two best spots of the night, especially when she's balancing at the end and she took out Becky Lynch. I thought one of the best things about this match was a lot of the women were climbing the rungs and getting pulled down. Not necessarily on top of the ladder. There was a lot of infighting. There was a lot of chasing. There was a lot of urgency. Everybody wanted to grab the Money in the Bank briefcase, and it was not obvious this year as to who was going to win. You can make a case certainly for Lacey Evans. You can make a case for Liv Morgan. You could have made a case for Becky Lynch. You could have made a case for Alexa Bliss. I believe those four women had a legit shot at winning the briefcase. Congratulations to Liv Morgan, who absolutely meant it, and she became a star later on in the night of Money in the Bank. Next match, this crowd was really hot for this one, featuring the almighty Bobby Lashley challenging United States Champion Theory for the championship, and Theory a couple of times looked like he was going to have Lashley, but he poked the bear and ended up getting locked in the Hurt Lock, and Theory tapped out, and Lashley, now going into SummerSlam in the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, is the United States Champion. This Lashley is the Lashley I love. Not the guy that cuts promos, just the guy that nails spears. And listen, Theory speared Lashley near the end of the matchup. Theory was trying to beat Lashley with his own move, and Lashley did not have any of it, locking him in the Hurt Lock as Theory went for his somersault roll, picture perfect standing dropkick, met right into the Hurt Lock for the tap out. And Lashley, again, this is the guy I like to see. Not the promo cutter, the ass kicker. And this is going to be Lashley's first reign as a face with a championship without a manager, which I think is an important aspect here because Lashley is not a great talker. He's a great fighter. He's not a great talker. I found his WWE Championship reign particularly boring. Maybe that's because of the fact because of his, matchups against Drew McIntyre after Hell in a Cell. He had a matchup with Goldberg, which I did not find that entertaining. And then you had the Kofi Kingston battle, which was okay, nothing special. And then, of course, the feud with Randy Orton, which led to Big E cashing in his Money in the Bank. But I did not find Lashley as champion that entertaining. I thought his United States Championship run in the Thunderdome era was better than his WWE Championship run. We'll see how this U.S. Championship run turns out without MVP by his side. The next match was the worst match of the night. Bianca Belair defeated Carmella. We knew this was a filler feud. We know Bianca Belair is either going to defend against Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley. Could be even both at Nissan Stadium at SummerSlam. Carmella did the best she could, but at the end of the day, a bitch slap to Bianca Belair angered the EST, the kiss of death to the challenger. Bianca Belair retained the Raw Women's Championship. A fine match, nothing special. And that's okay, because the next match, which WWE seemingly forgot or just decided not to do a stipulation between the Street Profits and the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, was one of the best tag team matches I have seen in any wrestling promotion in a long time. These boys, now the match started off slow. Obviously, Jimmy and Jey Uso taking apart Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, just the way the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns would do, slowly dissecting his opponent. But once the Street Profits got themselves in this match, once they got warmed up, the action picked up quick. They were flying all over the place. Blockbusters. I mean, diving to the outside, everything you could think of. And there were a few near falls that took place that, by God, I thought the Street Profits were going to win the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Now, they were teasing on the SmackDown before and a Street Profits breakup, which is why I thought the Usos would retain the tag titles here, because I thought maybe they do a major angle heading into SummerSlam with Andrew Dawkins or Montez Ford turning on another. I would think Dawkins would be the one to turn on Ford. Montez Ford seems like he's going to be a major single star. I think he's more over with the audience than Dawkins. I think when the turn does eventually happen, and who knows, it could happen at SummerSlam at this point, because we saw the finish, right, where the Usos were able to hit the 1D after Ford amazingly kicked out of a double super kick. They could not get the near fall from the Evans splash. They could not win the title, so the 1D tried to put Montez Ford away, but we saw his shoulders were up, even though the referee did not see it. That lends to be a rematch, and I would think that could create a stipulation at SummerSlam. And when the Usos win, maybe Andrew Dawkins says, hey, enough with Montez Ford. I'm going to move on my own. Maybe that's where they create the breakup between the Street Profits. But man, that was a phenomenal contest at Money in the Bank. Second to last match is Ronda Rousey and Natalya. Very technical match where Natalya was working on Ronda Rousey's knee throughout the matchup, trying to go for the sharpshooter. I like Ronda Rousey doing the Shawn Michaels pose within the sharpshooter. I also love Natalya putting Ronda in the sharpshooter on the hardest part of the ring on that apron. Made me think a couple of times legitimately Natalya was going to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. I love the finish where Ronda made Natalya tap, well, basically choking her out with both of her legs instead of the armbar. I thought that was a great, nasty touch. But as soon as you see Ronda Rousey holding her knee and crawling to the corner, I knew this was Liv Morgan's moment. And outside of Carmella in 2017 and 2018, every single Money in the Bank women's ladder match holder. Alexa Bliss 2018 cashed in same night. Bayley 2019 cashed in same night. Asuka 2020 cashed in the next night. 2021 Nikki ASH cashed in the next night. And now 2022, you have Liv Morgan cashing in the same night on Ronda Rousey, switching brands to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. It did not become a fight. Ronda tried to put the ankle lock on Liv Morgan. Liv was able to counter, roll her up, protect Ronda Rousey, and give Liv Morgan the championship victory. We're sending Ronda Rousey on vacation. Certainly, we all know Liv Morgan deserves it from being in the Riot Squad, having Ruby Riott cut last year, to trying to find her footing. Her feud with Becky Lynch at the end of 2021, heading into 2022, really gained her momentum. Of course, she teamed with Rhea Ripley a little bit, heading into WrestleMania, but now she is a major star, and she is the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's going to be able to carry the division for a little bit. I don't suspect Charlotte Flair will be back in time for SummerSlam. You know, maybe Liv Morgan has a potential feud with a returning Bayley. Maybe they turn Raquel Rodriguez heel, who had a great contest with Ronda Rousey. I think she'd be an excellent matchup for Liv Morgan. Maybe they go the route, maybe Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day move to SmackDown, and Rhea Ripley takes on her former tag team partner at one point. I do love Liv Morgan heading to SmackDown. I think it makes sense because SmackDown needs her more than Raw. Raw is, I think, very crowded with women. Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan are pretty much the same person. You know, you have Becky Lynch, you have Asuka, you have Doudrop, you have Nikki ASH if need to, you have Bianca Belair. I think without Sasha Banks and Naomi, who were both on SmackDown at the time, I think getting Liv Morgan over there will give SmackDown a huge boost. And congratulations to Liv. And I hope she has a long and lengthy title reign. Moving on here to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which of course main event of the show. We all know, I've heard the reaction on Twitter, because we know Twitter means everything, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, It does not. Austin Theory, of course, being inserted in this matchup. Now, yes, we all probably knew that Theory at that point was going to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, but I don't mind it at all. I think it makes perfect sense that Mr. McMahon would make Adam Pearce put in his protege to win this match and get an opportunity at the Undisputed Universe Championship. Now, whether that causes a rift between Roman Reigns and Mr. McMahon and the head of the table on the borderline is something to potentially be investigated down the line. But nonetheless, even with Theory winning, this match was filled with crazy spots. From Riddle jumping over the top rope on that top of the rung ladder to everybody on the floor, to them putting almost through the table, to Sami Zayn sneaking around the ring, and then taking a huge power bomb from Madcap Moss. The top of the air RKO with Riddle and Seth Rollins. I thought everybody at one point in this match was showcased. Even Butch got into it with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Everybody in this match had their spot, similar to the women's match. I think they gave these Money in the Bank matches a lot of time. It made the briefcase feel important. It made the briefcase feel urgent. And at one point, you could have made an argument for anybody to win that briefcase, though ultimately, again, Theory came away with the victory. I think WWE fans react a lot because they think that they know what's best for business. They know how to book. Ultimately, they don't because they want to book their favorite wrestlers. They don't want to book main attractions. That's what WWE is in the business for, booking main attractions. And for everybody that complains that WWE never builds up any stars, they made a new star in Liv Morgan becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion, and a new star is in the making. One of the best heels in the business, a guy that we all love to hate, Theory, who will be, in my opinion, the future Undisputed Universal Champion. Whether they do it at SummerSlam, I think is possible. I think you could have Reigns and Lesnar battle it out. Maybe Theory cashes in mid-match, and that could lead potentially to the Roman Reigns face turn. I think, Reigns has been getting cheered a lot lately. You could see Reigns, Theory, the face turn happening. I believe here it'd be very interesting to see if Roman Reigns does turn face when he goes and visits The Rock next year at WrestleMania 39. We know the borderline's been getting cheered. As I said, it's definitely a possibility. But yeah, I thought this show was great. Outside of Bianca Belair and Carmella, I liked every match on the card. I thought everybody had a good spot, and it was definitely sports entertainment for us.